Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Wednesday, June 6th, 2018 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I align my thoughts with the power of my soul flow. And today we have some really interesting astro stuff going on. Now I do want to mention something that occurred to me after I recorded yesterday's horoscope, and that is that Venus-Pluto opposition is actually stimulating, preparing us, kicking off the energy of the first eclipse that we do have coming up this summer. The first eclipse we have is with the new moon in Cancer, solar eclipse in Cancer, and it's at 20 degrees. And so that's where that opposition is happening. And really interesting world events, human events are definitely relating to this energy. And I actually am going to do an additional video about it, talking about it and just what I feel from this on my Patreon page. So if you want to dig into that further, go check that out. I will post the link down below for that. But besides that, let's dig into this astro for June 6th, which is very interesting to me. We have a few alignments. So we're coming off of this Sun-Mercury alignment, the Cazimi in the heart, Mercury in the heart of the sun. So with this, anytime planets get together, I always say planets are like little children. You get one and it's like noisy, and then you put two together and it's like, how many children are in there? Planets are the same way energetically. They amp each other up. They amplify each other. So Mercury, the mental energy, has been amplified by the fact that it's in the sign of Gemini and by the sun energy. So Sun and Mercury hanging out will be squaring the energies of the moon and Neptune. And this is so fascinating because Sun and Mercury right now, like I said, are amplifying this mental energy, whereas Moon in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces coming together are amplifying the energy of the soul, the energy of spirit, the esoteric nature of the universe. And so this is a good time to align our thoughts to the power of your soul flow. Today is an interesting day. We move from that balance energy, 15-degree energy, where we're trying to find our center, into 16-degree energy. That is 7 energy. That is finding our flow. That is realizing our spiritual nature. Now these energies, the sun with Mercury will be squaring the moon with Neptune. So we're going to come against that place where we feel that resistance, where we feel that square energy between what we learn, how we are stimulated in our everyday life. Gemini is like, and I have learned something here, and I see and learn something here, and ooh, look at this shiny thing. I am taking in this shiny thing. I said this the other day, and I will reiterate this. I have Gemini rising, and I have learned from my Gemini rising that there is nothing that I can hear in this world that doesn't go in and start getting processed. And one of my big lessons with my Gemini was learning that I don't have to believe everything that I hear, especially from authority figures. But we'll dig into that a little bit further in this scope. So, realizing that there's a part of Gemini within us, all of us, somewhere in our chart, that takes in everything we hear and does process it. Now, whether you take it and believe it or not, that's your own individual thing, but you have to realize where you are with that. But then we have the moon and Neptune in Pisces, which is esoteric and it's not always logical. Spiritual things have a very mystical, miraculous, not logical layer to them. And some people think that that kind of stuff is pure insanity. Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean it's not true and doesn't mean that it's insanity. But we may come up against this square, against this resistance within ourselves and within the world through this astrology. Now, it's always up for us to align beyond our thoughts, beyond what we're told is spiritually true or not true, into what is centering, grounding, harmonious for ourselves. The power of your personal soul understanding, the power of your personal soul flow. And that is the goal in and through this. Just realize there may be some confusion in and through these energies. I always love what the Buddha has to say. Mimi paraphrases, don't believe what anybody says, not even me, unless it resonates with the core of your beingness. And that's something we always have to learn. We have been taught to defer to authority, but this is a call to get beyond our deference to authority and really fall into the sacred nature of our own soul beingness and our own soul knowing, because that soul is connected to everything. So this energy is going to be up. Now, why I said there may be some confusion in and through this, between Mercury squaring Neptune and the Moon squaring Mercury, Neptune and the Sun squaring Neptune, anytime Neptune's involved, there can be that degree of the unknown, there can be that degree of faith, and there can be the fogginess that comes with the unknown and having to have faith. With Mercury involved, our logical thinking especially may be clogged and congested. We may think we're being logical, and we're not. And that could be good or bad for loss of better terms. That could be very beneficial for us. It's always beneficial, whether it's a lesson or like, hey, it turns out good. Or it can be a challenge. So if you get into that place of feeling fogged in the unknown, in the confusion, this is a call to drop into your center. This is a call to be here now. This is a call to get past any comparison that you may be doing and really dig into your own personal inner voice. Connect in and through this energy. Now, what I like that I think is supporting this is the Moon is connecting to Jupiter. So Jupiter's in Scorpio. Jupiter in Scorpio does help us drop in. Now, we have been talking about Jupiter in Scorpio, the fact that it's retrograde. It is definitely bringing up fears. So be very vigilant. If you're thinking you're dropping in is tuning you deeper into your fears, or is it tuning you deeper into your inner knowing? Because there may still be some fears that need to be processed in and through all of these energies. The Moon connecting to Neptune also does bring a very psychic nature. Again, if you're willing to tune into yourself and that your own internal guidance. Speaking of not getting too caught up in outside authority, we have the Moon in Pisces connecting both to Pluto and Venus. And I mentioned a little bit about that Pluto-Venus opposition. There is that energy of structure falling away from the authority of what it once was and returning that authority, returning our worth to what matters to ourselves. This is why we are being called to nurture ourselves. We are being called to be the parent to ourselves, to reparent, unlearn and reparent ourselves in a way that's true to ourselves. So it may be about releasing some of this authority in order to get more in tune with your own personal soul, your own personal knowing, being, etc. And I have such interesting cards that I think I'm going to dig into right now. So first and foremost, listen, tune into your inner voice. What will this lead to? These cards. It's going to lead to this. Success, maturity, completion. I always think that maturity card, this is whole beingness, one unto yourself, feeling complete in and of yourself. And of course, the lessons still go on. But what's going to be the challenge? That comparison, because your path is yours as an individual. It is not going to look like anybody else's. And we tend to judge that in ourselves. That's, again, part of that Venus-Pluto opposition thing that the Moon is kind of working with in and through this. You have to honor your own soul flow. There is power in your own soul flow. However, a lot of times we'll get caught up in this. My soul flow doesn't look like their soul flow. I really do want to dig into this. Your path is never going to look like somebody else's, and yet that doesn't mean that it's a call for judgment. And a lot of times we will judge our path against somebody else's who looks better, but just because their path may look better on the outside does not necessarily mean that it's better. Let your happiness, let your peace be your gauge for where you are on your personal soul flow. And if you can tune into that happiness, if you can tune into that peace in some respect or another, then good, you're on your way. And keep reaching for that more and more and more. All right. The cards I pulled from the Power of Love. Each card I was like, nah, nah, nah. But I really do think that these cards, more so than about anything outside yourself, are about you personally. So despite what their definitions may be, it's about you. Willingness. You are able to compromise if the end result is love. I don't love the compromise thing, but I think it's more like the willingness. You're able to find your balance in the world with the end result being love. You're willing to bring forth yourself into the world and letting the end result be love. It doesn't feel so much like stop compromising yourself. That's the thing I feel. Acceptance, self-acceptance. You are ready to release control in situations or people and lovingly embrace the rhythm of life. Accept yourself. Accept your path in and through this. Keep reaching for that love. Keep reaching for that joy. Keep reaching for that which aligns you with your happiness. And then tolerance. You appreciate other points of view because you sense love in everybody. For me, it's like, stop worrying about everybody else's things and start tolerating where you are. It keeps coming back to you, yourself, in and through these energies, the importance of that. So even though these seem so outward to me, I do feel like they are just beckoning us, calling us inward. Anyway, that is it for today. So go ahead, book my eclipse reading. If you have ordered one and I haven't gotten to you, I'm a little bit off kilter this week because jury duty, but I will be getting to you ASAP and scheduling those for next week, beginning next week. You can always order any other reading. My website's a little bit wonky, but GaiaBlooming.com, and I have a few offerings on a various thing. What's that? What's the hand raised for?
I should be in the next week or two be able to start re-enabling my...
Yes, Joe's going to be getting into his readings too. So if you've ordered from him, you will be hearing from him ASAP as well. And he will be offering more readings as well as we find our balance.
Lots of goodies.
Lots of goodies, lots of good things. All right, so check that out and check out my Patreon page because I have a lot of things, a lot of extra that I want to release on there. So that is it for today. The better it gets, the better it gets. There is enough love in the world for you, and I will see you tomorrow. Namaste.